Hello, FreeBSD 14.2 was released. Let's install it in a QEMU virtual machine along with the KDE Plasma version 5. Let's go to the FreeBSD web page. Says that 14.2 was released. Let's find the installation ISO file. Says that we should use dvd1.iso AMD64. In here it says download ISO images. These are the checksums. And then FreeBSD AMD64 DVD1, this file. The ISO file has finished downloading. Now let's find the instructions for how to install. It says installing FreeBSD, and that's a chapter inside the FreeBSD handbook. So there's a manual, a product manual that goes along with FreeBSD. That's called the handbook. And these are the chapters related to installing FreeBSD. In our case, we're going to use a QEMU Virt Manager virtual machine. So let's do that. So I've selected the DVD ISO file. Could not detect that it's FreeBSD. Let's see if typing helps. Let's make the virtual machine beefy. (14.2). And the virtual machine template is older. It's not the latest and greatest, so let's improve the settings in the virtual machine. i440FX is the older motherboard. Let's go with the newer Q35. The CPU topology, 1 socket, 14 cores. Disk Virt IO, that's great. DVD drive could be SATA. Network interface card, Virt IO. Okay. USB tablet, as far as I know, is supported. So let's see again. Network interface card, Virt IO, which is the fastest possible. CD-ROM SATA, fastest possible. Virtual hard disk, Virt IO, fastest possible. Let's begin installation. Okay, so 10 seconds to auto boot into installer. It's booted from the DVD drive. Would you like to begin the installation? Continue with the default key map, which is US. Host name. So no debug symbols, no source, no test, no ports. We're going to use binary packages and maybe lib32. Not ZFS because I do not know how to use that thing. So let's go with UFS auto. Entire disk. MBR or BSD or GPT. Let's see if GPT works. So it has looked at the virtual hard disk VTBD0, 250 gigabytes. It was not partitioned. It wants to create a GPT GUID partition table, and then a large FreeBSD UFS, a half gigabyte FreeBSD boot, and 4 gigabytes of swap. Sounds okay. Finish. Commit. And now, after it has formatted the partitions and the hard disk, it's extracting from the DVD the distributions, the tarballs, TXZ extension, base kernel, and lib32. A password for the user root, and asks if the installer should configure the network interface card. Yes. IPv4, yes. DHCP, yes. And IPv6, no. Hopefully this is enough. Next up, the region, America. Let's see, where is New York? United States of America, easternmost areas. EST. Looks okay. And additional services to be started at boot. Caching DNS server. SSH, yes please. SSH server. Yeah, it looks okay. Maybe we should also synchronize. So run an NTP network time protocol client. Okay. Some hardening, hide UIDs, GIDs, jail, message buff, proc debug, clear, disable syslog, dtrace, looks okay. That was the new feature with firmware in BSD install. Would you like to add users? Yes. Administrator user group and to other groups. Let's see what we used to do previously. This is my wiki page and mariusp.github.io. In here I have instructions on how to install different operating systems. At FreeBSD, at least version 14.0, it says that I should use the BSD installer and then create a user named administrator, which I did, and that I should add this user to the user group wheel. So let's do that. No empty password, no random password. And this should be it. Add another user, no. And we're ready to apply and exit installer. The installation has finished. Would you like to open a shell? No. Reboot. Let's shut down. Although I selected to shut down, it actually rebooted. And let's see what it's trying to do. The Virt Manager virtualization software has removed the ISO from the DVD drive, so it can only boot into the virtual hard disk, which it does. So it's the first time it has started the fresh installation of FreeBSD 14.2. It has created SSH keys. So let's see if we can connect. Okay, let's see if I can connect using the SSH server. We're going to copy this IP address and see if we can connect using SSH. SSH administrator. I agree. And here it is. Okay, in here I do some additional settings, maybe not everything's required, but I do like to use bash as my shell, so I'm going to do that. Become super user, the user root. Let's install just these. Says that package has never run before. Do you want to fetch and install? Yes. It's using quarterly or the binary package repositories. It's fetching metadata. It's going to install a ton of software. Let's do that. So I'm installing bash, which is a shell for the terminal. Right now it's using sh, which is a simpler shell. Emacs, just to have a text user interface textator. I could also probably go with nano. And then MC for the text user interface file manager. Okay. For these instructions, we could also compare with the actual book. Let's see where the book is. Do we do this? I'm still reading through the handbook, the FreeBSD handbook, the part with how to install. Probably nothing really groundbreaking has changed between FreeBSD 14.1 and FreeBSD 14.2, but still maybe some of these instructions are not needed any longer. Okay, now I'm at the chapter where I install the Xorg server. The instructions are similar. Says package install Xorg. Proceed with action. Again, the default should be Y, not N. Just pressing enter should install the packages. Okay, so it installs 172 binary packages. And since FreeBSD doesn't have the -dev split packages, in fact, it's the equivalent of maybe 600 Linux packages. So a ton of packages, a ton of X libraries, fonts, graphics, font libraries, font bitstream. Okay, and then the next step will be to add the current user to the video group. I'm not sure if the handbook was updated for FreeBSD 14.2 because it doesn't have any version in the URL. So I'm not sure if this is a handbook that's meant to work perfectly well on 14.0, 14.1, 14.2 at the same time, or if it's 14.2 only. I'm going to guess not. This would probably mean that the pages did not change much after the release of FreeBSD 14.2 compared to FreeBSD 14.1 for the FreeBSD handbook. PW group mode video and then the name of the user. Okay, so packages have been downloaded for the dependencies of the binary package xorg. I forgot to change the shell for the user root. Okay, and then add the user administrator to the user group video. I'm going to install Noto fonts because for sure KDE Plasma 5 will require it. Yes. While the packages are being installed, let's do in parallel some other instructions. Let's open another SSH connection. And let's see where we're at. So we're installing Noto. We did change the shell. And now let's, we still don't have sudo to configure it. Okay, let's add proc fs to the fs tab. Let's do that. So at the end, we add this part, Ctrl Shift V. Okay, let's save, Ctrl XS, Ctrl XC. We can round mount -A. Procfs is now mounted to /proc. Installing fonts is really slow, only half a megabyte per second download speed, which is way too slow. It's going to take a while to install fonts, maybe another 15 minutes or more. Meanwhile, let's look at the next steps. I have looked through the handbook, the parts of how to install xorg and KDE Plasma 5. They seem to not be changed between FreeBSD 14.1 and FreeBSD 14.2. So my notes will be okay. After sudo is installed, I'm going to make sure that the users in the user group wheel can use sudo. Then I'm going to install the meta package KDE 5 the way it's instructed in the install KDE Plasma meta package. Then I'm going to enable dbus like this. I'm going to set these to values, at which point inside the QEMU virtual machine there will be a installation of KDE Plasma 5. I'm not going to use SDDM. I'm not going to connect to the virtual machine using this, which is Virt Manager. I'm only going to connect to the virtual machine using the xrdp RDP server. After KDE Plasma 5 is going to be installed correctly, I'm going to install xrdp. Let's look at the instructions for FreeBSD. So there's two binary packages, xrdp and xorg-xrdp. I need to install these. Then I want to enable the services, xrdp and xrdp sysmon. Then I need to have a configuration file in my user's home directory. The user that I have created is named administrator. And then I'm going to connect to the virtual machine using an RDP client. In my case, I'm going to use xfreerdp, which is part of the FreeRDP open source project. And the command line is going to be like this. So package install has finished installing all of the Noto fonts, 64 packages, and then sudo. Let's edit the sudoers. So in here it says root has all of the privileges, and then wheel could the FreeBSD users which are member of the user group wheel could be sudoers, or in this case could be sudoers, but the password of the user administrator will not be required when administrator runs a command line starting with sudo. So I'm commented this line where it continues to ask the password for the user administrator. Okay, we already did this part. Now we need to install this long list of packages. Seven hundred 740 packages to install. Now we see download speeds which are better. I have seen even 7 megabytes per second compared to 0.7 megabytes per second. Okay, so it's installing KDE Plasma, some KDE applications, KWin Window Manager, the system settings, help center, and many dependencies, Qt5, many packages from Qt5, including this thing. You can see games being installed, Katomic. The voice text-to-speech library, fonts libraries, Copit. Wow. a very large number of packages which are not needed. So this is an instant messenger that's not developed anymore. Kupit kopete with a key. Palapeli is also a game. K Jumping Cube is a game. Not sure what exactly I did install here. So KDE Frameworks Plasma Desktop and Applications. I want a well-configured KDE Plasma 5 where at least the minimum packages are are installed, well configured to talk to each other, etc. Because then end of dependency trees, the so-called leaves, applications I can easily uninstall, such as games. Ktuberling, yes, I can uninstall Ktuberling, but I want console to be configured correctly, Dolphin to work correctly, the start menu, I don't know, what's the very minimum base KDE Plasma with full features. So we'll be back once it finishes installing, or let's see if we can do anything meanwhile. So we could do these things. Maybe also this thing. Okay, so while this is running, I can change the default shell for the user administrator. Let's do that. Who am I? Let's see the .profile file. What's up? I'm inside sh, and sh is not that great with Midnight Commander. So let's switch to bash. Maybe if I re-log in. Yay, we have Midnight Commander. So there's configuration files for the various shells. There's one for CSH, CSHRC, the hidden file. I don't use this thing. Then there's bash history. There's a .login. Let's see what this one does. Fortune, okay. This doesn't do anything. .login underscore conf. There's SHRC for the shell that's default, which is sh. And there's this .profile, which probably applies both to bash and sh. Editor vi pagerless. And then it uses .shrc. Okay, so it says that I should edit this file. And there's a comment in the outline. path bin sbin bin usr sbin usr bin usr local sbin usr local bin home bin. Okay, I'm commented out this line, and I'm going to save F2, enter, escape twice. Okay, and it's still downloading packages, 130 packages to download. $100 more packages to go. All of the packages have finished installing from this command line package install KDE 5. One of the messages is from kmail, which is exactly what we already did. Set net local stream receive and send space. We're at this step where we'll restart the virtual machine. How do we do that? Like this. Ten seconds timeout in the bootloader. It's a bit much. 1 second is okay. Next up, we'll need to install the xrdp RDP server. So let's reconnect. Let's see if sudo works. It does. So package install xrdp xorg xrdp. Proceed with this action, yes. And let's enable the two services, xrdp and xrdp_session. And let's see if this command line is still valid. Of course it is, because KDE Plasma 5 didn't really change in the last 6 months. So there should be an executable ck minus launch minus session. Yes, there is. There should be a start Plasma X11. There is. So maybe we also want to install a web browser. After this, I will log out as the user root. I will become the user administrator again. And I'm going to create a configuration file in my home directory named startwm.sh with just this line as content. And then I'm going to make it executable. So Control D. Now I'm the user administrator again. I can create this file. Make it executable. And reboot again. and everything should be configured correctly right now. The FreeBSD 14.2 virtual machine should be configured correctly. It should have KDE Plasma 5 and many other KDE applications installed using Qt 5, and an RDP remote desktop protocol server installed, to which then we can connect. So we can keep connecting using SSH, but we can also connect using the RDP client, which is this command line. Oh, what happened? Okay, let's see the IPv4 address. It ends in 27. It asks if I recognize this computer. We see the first run splash screen of KDE Plasma 5, where various configuration files are being created, various applications and libraries are being started for this user for the first time. We can see the desktop with a background, and hopefully the KDE Plasma 5 panel will appear. I don't know what happened. I just resized the FreeRDP window, which I can. And that tells FreeBSD to change the resolution, which is also something very important. And now I can see the KDE Plasma 5 main panel from FreeBSD in here. I can make the window take just a quarter of my monitor, and the FreeBSD operating system's desktop will be resized accordingly. Let's see the resolution. So the resolution is 958 by 510. Very important feature to have, because this way I can, for instance, not use the web browser at all inside the virtual machine. I can just use the web browser on my host machine, on the RDP client machine, not on the RDP server machine. And then copy paste of text should work. Let's see if it does. So yes, copying from the RDP client to the RDP server works, and back. It also works. So bidirectional copy of plain text works between the RDP client and the RDP server, between the virtualization host machine and the virtualization software. And if I have these features, which is bidirectional copying of plain text, the fact that resizing the remote desktop protocol client resizes the resolution of the computer that we're connected to, and then the fact that the speed is incredibly good, refresh speed, everything's just perfect. And on top of all of this, if I want, I can also run YouTube on in the web browser inside the virtual machine. So I couldn't ask for more from a virtual machine. And from here on, you could do your standard customizations that you do for KDE Plasma 5. Mine being these screen edges, nothing, and outer 15. Then fonts, where are you? Not this one, but fonts. Make it sub-pixel rendering, RGB and full. And what else? The cursor. Increase the size of the cursor to 36. And I don't know, this. So this is it. This is how you install in the recently released FreeBSD 14.2 in a virtual machine using QEMU, in my case KVM, because I'm on a Linux operating system installed on a hardware computer. I'm using Virt Manager, and then for connecting to the virtual machine, I'm using either SSH or text user interface style connections, and for graphical user interface style connections, I'm using the RDP protocol with the xrdp, xorg xrdp RDP server installed on the FreeBSD virtual machine. And on the other side, I have a RDP client. In my case, because I'm on Linux, I'm using xfreerdp with this long command line. This is it. Thank you.